We need to talk about a crisis that's exploding right on America's northern border. It's early 2026, and the relationship between the United States and Canada, one of the most stable partnerships in the world, has completely broken down. President Trump has turned his attention north, and things are getting intense. So, how on earth did we get here? For nearly 2 centuries, that border was famous, the world's longest undefended frontier. It was this incredible symbol of peace and cooperation. Well, that symbol is being shattered right now. Let's dig into how this historic friendship was pushed to the absolute brink. For decades, you could describe the US-Canada relationship as a kind of buddy film. It was predictable, it was stable, you always knew how it was going to end. But now, someone's ripped up that script. The open hand of friendship has been pulled back, and in its place, we're seeing a fortress wall go up. This is a totally new and frankly hostile era. And the language being used, it tells you everything you need to know about how serious this is. When the President of the United States calls the border with Canada an artificially drawn line, that's not just some tough negotiation tactic. No, that's a direct challenge to the very idea of Canada as a separate, sovereign country. So what's behind all this? Why this sudden aggressive turn? Well, Washington's new strategy isn't about just one thing. It's really being driven by this powerful combination of a transactional worldview and some very specific, perceived insults. At the heart of this entire conflict is this philosophy of extreme transactionalism. Basically, history, shared values, long-term alliances, none of that really matters. It all takes a backseat to the bottom line. Every single relationship is just a business deal. And if the US isn't seen as winning that deal, then it's time to tear it up and force a new one. And looking through that lens, two major complaints have bubbled to the surface. First, there's the free rider argument. The White House view is that Canada only lives because of the United States from a military standpoint, but isn't paying its fair share. Then there's what they call the Carney Revolt. When Canadian Prime Minister Mark Carney gave a speech at Davos that was seen as critical of U.S. policy, well, it wasn't taken as a simple disagreement between allies. It was seen as an act of defiance, of insubordination. But honestly, this goes way beyond just dollars and cents. There's a much deeper, more radical idea making a comeback here, a sort of revival of the 19th century concept of manifest destiny. The thinking isn't just about winning a trade war, it's this belief that the entire North American continent should, really, be under a single unified American authority. And make no mistake, this isn't just talk. This ideology is being backed up with a full-on economic assault. It's a campaign designed to put maximum pressure on Canada to bring them to their knees. So let's look at the weapons being used. It's a three-pronged attack. First, you've got the aircraft salvo, aimed right at Canada's aerospace giant Bombardier. We're talking a 50% tariff and a threat to actually decertify its planes, which would basically ban them from U.S. skies. Second, a border tax is already hitting all sorts of goods and energy. And then there's the biggest threat of all, the China Red Line. 100%. Let that sink in for a second. That's the tariff President Trump has threatened to slap on all Canadian goods if Ottawa moves forward with new trade deals with China. It's the nuclear option. This isn't a threat meant to punish. It's a threat designed to completely vaporize Canada's economy if it doesn't fall in line. So you have to ask, what's the end game here? If it's not just about trade deficits, what does the White House actually want from all this? Well, the answer seems to lie in two absolutely critical areas: resources and strategic control of geography. The strategy is pretty clear, and it's twofold. First, it's about getting control over resources. Canada has massive reserves of lithium, cobalt, and nickel. These are the minerals that are going to power the 21st century. The goal is to absorb them into an America-first supply chain without having to deal with an independent Canadian government. Second, it's about controlling the Arctic. As the ice melts, the Northwest Passage is becoming one of the most important shipping lanes on the planet, and the U.S. wants to be the one who decides who gets to use it. And when you put all that together, you arrive at this one very old and very chilling word: vassalage. The goal seems to be to push Canada into a state of vassalage. Sure, it would still be a country on the map, but its most important policies on trade, on its borders, on its own natural resources would essentially be dictated from Washington. It would be a territory in all but name. So what does this all mean for North America? What we're witnessing is the fracturing of an alliance that took generations to build. It might even be a permanent break. And the consequences of that? Well, they're huge. for both countries and for the future of the entire continent. At the end of the day, you have to realize this isn't just about tweaking a trade agreement. This is a fundamental, radical attempt to completely rewrite the geopolitical map of North America. It's a move that challenges the very right of an independent Canada to exist. And that leaves us with the one massive question that hangs over everything. Is Canada's actual sovereignty on the line here? Or is this just the most extreme example of art of the deal posturing we've ever seen? A colossal bluff to get the best possible terms? The answer to that question is going to define the future of this continent.